Hey everyone, today we're going to be looking through the rarest cosmetics of Dead by Daylight, starting with the kinda rare and going up to the insanely rare cosmetics at the very end. Let's get into it. At the very start of this list we have some technically rare but likely not that rare as they were incredibly widely available. It's worth briefly mentioning though because these items were time gated and so are no longer available and as a result carry a degree of rarity even if it's quite a low one. This includes stuff like the year 4 anniversary crowns, the event cosmetics like the New Year cosmetics, basically just anything that was time gated but easily available to everyone is rare but in the kinda lowest tier of rarity as it were. Further in this section we have the Trapper split screen cosmetic, which is exclusive to the Nintendo Switch version of the game. This is possibly higher, but the issue is it's very hard to tell the exact player base of the Switch, but I'd honestly imagine that it equates to a similar number of people who own the different event cosmetics on all of the other platforms, so we'll keep it at this level for now. Next up we have the different faces available for Leatherface, which were obtained through killing lots of Dwights, Megs, Claudettes, and Jakes, each respectively getting either Leader Face, Athlete Face, Smart Face, and Survivor Face for Leatherface. Each of these is basically Bubba wearing the base game Survivor's face as a mask. It's kinda surprising how little people have these, and it's partly down to not many people playing Bubba, but also people being very unaware that these even exist. These aren't restricted or time gated, but I think just due to how little people have these, they are rarer than a lot of the event cosmetics. The next level of rarity I would say lies with items such as the recent Gnome Chomsky charm as well as the Vic Viper charm. The Gnome charm was available during a short event where you could find it during the endgame collapse and obtain it by kicking it. This one is a bit more secret than the previous ones and is also time gated, so yeah, a little rarer. We then have the Vic Viper charm, which requires you to input the Konami code into the home screen after buying Pyramid Head. This one is also kinda secret and requires a specific DLC, meaning there's a slightly higher degree of rarity to this also. Okay, so going up to this next tier of rarity, we have the Campfire charm, Fruitcake charm, and Dwight Crow charm. The Campfire charm is apparently obtained by linking your account to your behavior account, but this seems to vary in degrees of success, and so some believe there is a completely different way to obtain this charm, which is unknown. If it is just linking your account, then, I mean, yeah, it's not as high as this, but if there is an unknown method of obtaining it, then it's pretty equal to our other two charms here. So that one's kind of in question. The Fruitcake and Dwight Crow charms are both charms that were only obtainable by receiving a code from a fog whisperer or content creator during a certain time period in 2020. I'm not sure about the exact amount of codes, but I believe each code did equate to multiple redeems, so the number of these out there is definitely in the thousands, and so we're not quite into those areas of high rarity just yet. These are no longer obtainable though, and you had to get kinda lucky to receive these to begin with, so they are pretty rare still. Upon the release of Behavior's other game, Death Garden, there was a window where if you purchased Death Garden in 2018, you would get 2 masks that appeared in that game in Dead by Daylight for both Meg and Trapper. You can no longer get these masks as the game stopped getting developed in 2019 and the server shut down in August of 2020. So if you have this, I would say it's pretty rare. You'll definitely see them around still though, but certainly quite rare nonetheless. Legacy is a rare set of cosmetics that you don't see too often nowadays. It's very unclear how many people have Legacy, but I think it's probably enough to be a bit less rare than our next item. Nevertheless, Legacy is a set of cosmetics that is similar looking to the current day Prestige clothing. The only way you could obtain Legacy is by prestiging before the date of the 24th of November 2016, prior to the Blood Web getting reworked. The Blood Web before the rework was incredibly grindy and much larger, making getting any Prestige clothing quite difficult. As a result, Behavior awarded the players who had grinded it prior to the rework with the Legacy clothing. The Legacy set is only obtainable on Dwight, Meg, Claudette, Jake, Nia, Trapper, Wraith, Billy, and Nurse. The Bloodletting shirt is up next and could only be obtained when purchasing an item from the Dead by Daylight merchandise store from the 15th of June to the 3rd of July in 2017. The reason this is so rare is because it was only attainable during a small window and very early on in the game as a whole. I imagine there was likely less sales back then for the merchandise store, but also because the game hadn't completely established itself to the extent it has today, it just wasn't as likely that people would have these. Because this shirt was unlocked off of codes, you can buy one off of eBay now, on occasion, but they're into the hundreds of dollars or pounds, whatever currency you use. It's expensive for a cosmetic basically, but you can still technically get one if you want them that badly, but there's very few. Okay, going up a level of rarity, we have the Crew 2017 top for Nia, which is restricted only to developers of Dead by Daylight, which there are currently 600 of. Although back in 2017 when this was distributed, there was likely less developers. Not sure the specific number, but let's call it 600 just to make it easy. This makes this top pretty damn rare, but also unobtainable to the wider community, as of course the entire community are not developers. Next we have the Twitch t-shirt, which is only available if you received a code for one of these from the developers, typically given out to Twitch streamers. That's it basically. These are fairly rare, especially as I think they aren't getting handed out as frequently anymore. Exclusivity to Twitch streamers definitely gives this cosmetic a pretty high rarity. A slightly more rare version of this cosmetic though is the King Kong t-shirts, which are basically the same as the Twitch shirts except the equivalent for Asia and those who stream there. Comparatively, there's definitely more people with the Twitch shirt than the King Kong shirt, but they are still in the same ballpark of rarity. But this is slightly higher as it is restricted to only a certain part of the world. This next cosmetic is another one slightly unclear in terms of the numbers, but basically this t-shirt, the Grey Panda TV shirt, was only obtainable if you took part in the Panda TV tournament. So it's a one-off, time-gated, and you had to have participated, meaning this shirt is very rare. It does depend on how many people competed, but I would assume it wasn't that many, and at this was only attainable during this small window, so either way it is quite rare still. The Fog Whisperer charm is a charm given to Fog Whisperers, who are basically community representatives, typically streamers. I'm not totally sure how many there are now, but originally there was only about 10 or so, and now it's nearer to 50 I would imagine. This makes this charm kinda insanely rare. The only way you can gain this unfortunately is by being a Fog Whisperer, so this one isn't available to the wider community, unless you build up enough of a following and manage to join the Fog Whisperer program, I guess. Now these next ones I believe are slightly rarer than the Fog Whisperer charms, and that's the Scribe of the Entity and Banhammer charms, which are only available to translators and moderators respectively. Again, there's no clear numbers for these, but I'd imagine the numbers are fairly low, so they're up here quite high in the list and in rarity. These next cosmetics are kind of in question as they were made to be exclusive to certain YouTubers and streamers, but I believe they were distributed out to a few other people, I believe through codes from their respective content creator, so for each of these I would imagine it's no more than in the 10s, potentially lower. These are the cosmetics such as the Mask of Delirium, exclusive to H2O Delirious, the Bryce McQuaid shirt, exclusive to Bryce McQuaid, and the Is It Dia or Dia shirt, exclusive to Diatech. All very cool looking and only given to their respective creators. The rarest item actually in the game and only available at one point is the Gold Panda TV shirt, only available to the person who won the aforementioned Panda TV tournament. This one is pretty special I feel, as not only is it time gated, but you had to participate in that specific tournament, but also win that tournament. So this one shirt is more than likely the rarest obtainable item that has ever been in the game, that someone has. Okay, now onto some stuff that is really rare, so rare to the point of it being unobtainable. Really this is just an extension to the list, as the rarest item is that golden shirt, or the YouTuber and streamer exclusive cosmetics. But if we want to include unobtainable as a higher rarity, then these things are rarer and quite literally impossible to obtain unless you're a developer. There's actually a bunch of different items that have not been added but have been made, yet are not available or obtainable in the live game. This consists of unreleased YouTube shirts for Dwight and Meg, Vector Victory for Dwight, High School Troublemaker for Jake, and Fengmin's unreleased Brazilian Comic-Con 2017 shorts, and the Pro No One Escapes Death charm. Alright, that's gonna do it. I do hope you enjoyed. Thanks, and goodbye.